As a player, is it fair to say at United your career was split in two, on and off the pitch really? Like in your early years at United, you were marauding, you'd run everywhere, you'd chase down in the right wing, you'd be all over the pitch, box to box, and then off the pitch you'd go out with the lads, you'd go out after games with all the rest of the players. In the second part of your United career, you was just complete discipline. I mean, like freakish in some ways. You went to like 5% body fat.
It was less.
Was it?
4 point something.
I mean, that's
Towards
ridiculous.
the, yeah, it is. No, it's not good.
I know.
Roy Keane is an absolute legend for Manchester United, and love him or hate him as a pundit or as a player or as a manager, you cannot deny that guy was intense. And it was that intensity that propelled him to being probably the best captain English football has ever seen. And in this clip that you are about to see, he talks about the price of success at the top.
Unbelievable. You were on the pitch, him in the stand.
Yeah, it was brilliant. That's why the anger I have towards the end of my time at United and with Ireland, my anger is justified. Because I feel I was wronged. Like, we all do something, we go, do you know, I kind of played my part in that. But not on them occasions. No, I'll argue with you, you might have a different opinion about it, but I don't think so. I think...
I was there. I mean,
I know you were there, but I done that Q&A with you in Dublin, and you said, well, at the end, Ryan, the meeting, you know, there's no way back. The damage was done about 6 months before that, but I knew it was coming. I wasn't daft, because what happened at the end of it, when you're working with people and brilliant managers, and that respect is lost, and it was, then it's over.
As a player, is it fair to say at United your career was split in two, on and off the pitch really? Like in your early years at United, you were marauding, you'd run everywhere, you'd chase down in the right wing, you'd be all over the pitch, box to box, and then off the pitch you'd go out with the lads, you'd go out after games with all the rest of the players. In the second part of your United career, you was just complete discipline. I mean, like freakish in some ways. You went to like 5% body fat.
It was less.
Was it?
4 point something.
I mean, that's
Towards the,
ridiculous.
yeah, it is. No, it's not good.
And off the pitch, obviously, you just didn't go out anymore.
No, I'd still go out.
Or you did, but you just...
Yeah, I'd obviously drive maybe.
Yeah.
But I think there was when I'd done my cruciate,
Yeah.
that was a big one. When I was out for a year, it was tough. It was tough when you're a long-term injury at the cliff. The facilities weren't great.
Yeah.
And obviously I was a bit older.
Yeah.
Kids at the time, like my time at United, same as Forest. No one needed to invite me for a night out or a drink. I used to love it. To me, that was part of the package. But I had that kind of mentality from Ireland. I played League of Ireland, you know, that win or lose, you hit the booze, all that stupid carry on. And I was a bit younger and I got away with it. But when I done my cruciate, then I thought, again, extremes. Obviously, I played in the middle of the park. But if you remember, towards the end of my career, I was kind of gaunt looking in some of the pictures.
Yeah.
I was picking up...
your hair was short.
Yeah, I was picking up more injuries. When I say injuries, dead legs. I was cold all the time. I remember at United playing matches. You know, no, at 15, but after 15 minutes, you know, in the dressing room at half-time, I'd be freezing because I had no protection.
But you were driving other people that way as well.
If you remember, though, Giggsy, a few of us went to a health place in Milan, and Lauren Blanc. I remember the woman giving us advice about her diet, and I think the woman said to me this. The lads, before they told me we went to Milan, they went, you won't be fed for 4 or 5 days. And I went, that can't be true. No, we didn't get fed for 4 or 5 days. And I was talking about carbohydrates, proteins, Jesus. And what I found out when I came back, and I remember the lady said to me, I need to come back on my iron, be careful with red meat. So what did I do? I stopped eating meat altogether. Now, I remember missing a game for United against Arsenal. The doctor came, he took a blood test and he went, you need to sort yourself out, start eating properly. And my mother said the same. My mother came over from Ireland, and only your mother would tell you. She said, what are you doing? I said, well, just this new diet, you know. And she went, you start eating properly. And do you know what I was trying to live like? I'll be honest, I was trying to live and act like an Italian or a French player. You know, when they used to...
Was that because you had...
Yeah, because the lads in the dressing room...
But you had links with them as well. You had links with Italian clubs, didn't you, at one point?
The thing about Roy Keane was... he had an incredible mindset, and he was an incredible footballer as well, like technically speaking. But what I often think about when it comes to players like Roy Keane, how much that intensity and the ability go hand in hand. I mean, did he have the ability because he was so intense, because he practiced so much? Or did he realise that he had ability and he decided he was going to be intense to make the most out of that ability that he had? And what's special about Roy Keane in my eyes was he talks about there was two sort of separate moments in his career. There was a before and there was an after. So when he got his cruciate injury, that was the defining moment of Roy Keane's career in a lot of ways. And he was also almost a bridge between the old kind of one of the lads, lager drinking, pub footballer kind of Premier League players, transitioning over to the more professional footballer that we see today as well. But what's also interesting about Roy Keane is he probably still is more professional than a lot of footballers who are playing today as well, because at the very least he made the most of the talent that he had. And there was a lot of transitioning from that particular era over to now in that Manchester United team. I mean, a lot of people talk about Arsene Wenger changing football a lot and bringing diet over and things like that, but it was Manchester United actually that brought a lot of the continental ideas over to Manchester and to England, like particularly with Eric Cantona. And Alex Ferguson used to send Brian Kidd over to watch Juventus train. And obviously Roy Keane started to learn from some of the foreign players. And then Ryan Giggs brought in the yoga because he wanted to elongate his career. Plus he stopped drinking as well. So you've got Roy Keane, you've got Ryan Giggs, and they stopped drinking. And they just made the most of the talent that they had because they wanted it to last a lot longer than it did. And Roy Keane being so intense, I remember him talking about this kind of thing in his book. He wishes he was a little bit more smarter with his career because he would often play with injuries, and he reckoned that actually reduced his career by a number of years. So if he had a knock, he'd just play. But he remembers talking to a lot of the foreign players, and the foreign players would say, "Oh, I've got a knock, I'm not available for this game." And Roy Keane couldn't understand that. But those players lasted a lot longer in their careers than he did. So I suppose it's a fine line, really, and I don't know. Maybe you see that a lot in football now because there's a lot of injuries at Manchester United now. I mean, it seems as though we've had a squad of sick notes for the past 10 years, with Martial, with Pogba, with Varane, with Luke Shaw, Malacia, Mason Mount. Plenty of crocs, and I wonder if each of those players, if they had an ounce of the dedication, the tenacity, the fighting spirit that Roy Keane had, would they have been lying on the injury table as long as they did? I don't know. Maybe in Paul Pogba's case, who knows? But Roy Keane's intensity and his tenacity is something that is sorely lacking at Manchester United now. And he was certainly a reflection of his manager. And it's a shame that they can't bury the hatchet because they were so good for each other. They really were. Anyway, what do you guys think? Was Roy Keane his own worst enemy towards the end? Or was it that tenacity that made him who he was? I miss Roy Keane, the player. I really do.